I've known you for years. I mean, it's just one of those things where a comfort is built up, an intimacy. I mean, people go to sleep with you, and you've slept around probably more than anybody else and didn't even realize it.
But you're so right with this, 90% of our subconscious mind is just negativity. Yeah. Then isn't it just okay that we can just begin to put in things, like, I love who I am?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And you're right, having to merge the emotion with it is so necessary, because it'll never anchor inside of us without the emotion. You can't just say it.
A contentment inside. It's a feeling. Again, when I first started doing the business on my own, I said, if I can just get $500 a week, I can then leave my job. And so then, then I reached that. Then I said, if I can just get $800 a week, I can do this. And then it just went on and on and on until I reached a point and I thought, well, when are you going to be grateful and happy just for what you have right now? And so it was this whole journey has been an absolute learning curve for me to really tap into what's important, what's truly important in my life.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Life Mastery Podcast, where we provide guidance, information, and motivation for the modern day warrior. Stephen Arecco is an entrepreneur, life coach, and author of the book Accelerated Personal Development. And now your host, Stephen Arecco.
My next guest is an international sensation, amassing 1.57 million YouTube subscribers and over 250 million views. His programs have been implemented all across Australia and the United States. Cruising his YouTube channel, you can see comments like, "Thank you so much for giving me back my life, my dreams, my joy." He is CEO of Relax Me Online and the co-author to Jack Canfield's book, Success Mastery. With 11,000 miles between us, it is my immense pleasure to welcome Jason Stephenson to Life Mastery Podcast.
Wow. That's amazing.
And well earned.
What an intro.
All right then. So I'd like to talk about, I love your business model that you have for YouTube. I mean, I don't even know where to go first. I love the business model that you have on YouTube, and I love what you do for people. Of course, I love for what you do for people much greater.
Yeah.
But first, I'd like to tell you how I found you.
Yeah, sure.
There was a balloon meditation that you had in, I think it was like 2004. It was a hot air balloon for children.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That was one of my earlier ones.
Welcome to this meditation for children, the hot air balloon ride. Take a moment to think about all the fun things you did during the day today.
It was one of my earlier ones.
Yes, balloon meditation, 2004. Right. So I found you through that because my daughter at the time was like 3 or 4 years old, and I wanted to give her something really special each night. And she didn't have trouble sleeping. She didn't have any nightmares or anything like that, but I just felt like she needed that. We all need that little extra. So I found that, and I burned it to a DVD, and I had it repeat for a couple of hours every night before she'd go to sleep for, I don't know, at least a year or two. And that's how I found you. And then from there, I've been a fan ever since.
Wow, that is awesome. I loved doing those children's meditations, I might add.
And, just getting back to your YouTube model really quick, but I really want to stay with the personal development stuff and the spirituality. I just love that you created something where people kind of have to access you every day in a sense. Most people aren't downloading them. They're going to tune in. So you're going to get a hit at least once or twice a day from people that want to, enjoy your meditations and your music and everything. And it just blows my mind because they never go out of date. They never go out of style. People are, the hit at 350 million, 250 million views. I mean, that just blows my mind. How do you start your day, Jason? Because I know how you start your day is so important, right? How we all start our days. How do you start your day? What's up here in the morning?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be brutally honest right now. I normally meditate for 30 minutes every morning. And guess what? This morning I didn't.
Oh.
I think I had this on my mind and I've woke up and just totally skipped it. But normally, and I will do the meditation after this, but normally every day, for 30 minutes, I meditate in silence. I use a little app, and I've got my little timer on it, and that's how I begin my days. I've fallen off the wagon, but that's okay, because I'll do that again. But yeah, for me, interestingly enough, when I first began the meditation channel, believe this or not, but meditation was kind of something that I was just dabbling in. It was just almost like a fun thing. I'd just do it every now and then whenever I chose to. And of course, when you build something and it's a meditation channel, you're going to get lots and lots of questions, and you've got to begin to know your material. So the beauty of this meditation channel is that I've grown with this. And so meditation has now become a key area in my life because I need it, because of the pressures of work. And, I run a company now. And so as the business grows, various pressures are coming in from all over the place. And so meditation is a absolute blessing for me. And I thank God I have this tool. And I love sharing it. I love sharing it.
And we need it more now than ever, society.
Oh my goodness, we do, Steve. I mean, with all the apps that we have, and with all the beeps and the notifications, and we're not escaping. Like years ago, we used to just have the TV, then we had the computer where we could just turn it off. And there was no smartphones, there was nothing to follow us around. Now it's constant bombardment of technology, and we need it more than ever.
And I think that's probably part of, I'm going to call it your success, because you're so successful at this. And it just blows my mind how I just spent hours today just reading the replies and underneath some of these videos that you have posted. And it's just, it's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Someone even wrote how beautiful it is just to read the comments.
Yes.
And it's true. And it's true. It just puts you in a great frame of mind. And it kind of makes you wonder what you're missing if you're not partaking in some form of meditation. And it's intimate. It's intimate. Like, I just met you for the first time, and I've known you for years. It's just one of those things where a comfort is built up, an intimacy. People go to sleep with you, and you've slept around probably more than anybody else and didn't even realize it. In a good way, in a really good way. So I find that fascinating. And visually, you don't have to be on the screen. Even better, people close their eyes, so you're a voice. It just blows my mind, I guess just the way you built your YouTube channel, with people having to come back for more. It's almost like the person that has to buy the razor each day or each week. You know what I mean? You get repeat customers over and over and over again. And you're doing it in such a way that you're adding value to their lives. It's not something like, oh, I got to shave today. It's something like, wow, I get to listen to Jason today, or I can't wait to wake up with Jason and go to sleep with Jason, or whatever. I really just think that's phenomenal. Perfectly built for YouTube, except you don't need any video. It's just perfect. And I'm a video editor. And for me to say that's a pretty tall order. You created the perfect vehicle for YouTube. I truly believe that.
Absolutely, it is. And the thing is, you often hear people, they put in the comments and they say things like, half of these views are from me, because they do come back and they watch these things again, or they listen to these things again and again and again, and it becomes a part of their life. I've even got some meditations that are, because they've got affirmations involved. And I recommend, to listen for 1 month, to allow these affirmations to become a part of your mental mindset and to help you out. So people are coming back time and time again.
I'm so glad you mentioned the word affirmations, because, I think for a while they were getting a bad rap, because I think a lot of people were using them for business and, and such. But when you think about all the negative affirmations that we run through our head, almost on a moment-to-moment basis. And those are affirmations. Those are affirming. We need something to counterbalance that. So when you say positive affirmations, I'm like, I don't know. I really felt as though it got a bad rap there. I've been doing this for 35 years. So a while ago, it was just for a while. It was just like people were walking around talking to themselves and marching and talking. I just think that it's still so necessary more than ever with all the internal talk, the dialogue, and it's negative, right? It's like in the 90 percentile probably.
Absolutely. And I know that, some psychologists say that, affirmations can be useless, if you're feeling depressed and you're just saying things without meaning them. And I think the important thing when we're using affirmations is more than the words, is to get to that feeling space of how that makes you feel when you say those words. And then if you get the word and the feeling together,
yes, sure,
that works. That really, really works. If we just repeat it verbatim, just blah, 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 I'm feeling good. It's not going to mean so much. But you're so right with this, 90% of our subconscious mind is just negativity. Yeah. Then isn't it just okay that we can just begin to put in things, like I love who I am?
Yeah, sure.
And
you're right, having to merge the emotion with it is so necessary because it'll never anchor inside of us without the emotion. You can't just say it. I mean, maybe you'll get 1% possibility of it sinking in one time, one place or whatever, but without the emotion and actually, pushing the two together, it stands no chance. Well, that's how bad things get in, right? We have traumatic experiences. I mean, those are the things that we carry forever. We're driving in a snowstorm and we almost kill ourselves, and now we're afraid to drive forever. I mean, that's how things get in.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah, I've been using affirmations personally myself. They helped me through a dark time. So I'm the first to put up my hand and say, well, it helped me. So it might help some other people.
Yeah. And what human being doesn't need help? I mean, or doesn't need a leg up? I mean, we've all been through difficult things. And what's your definition of success? Like if I were to just ask you flat out, Jason, what's your definition of success?
It's changed. It's now a contentment inside. It's a feeling again. Yeah. When I first started doing the business on my own, I said, if I can just get $500 a week, I can then leave my job. And so then I reached that. Then I said, if I can just get $800 a week, I can do this. And then it just went on and on and on until I reached a point and I thought, well, when are you going to be grateful and happy just for what you have right now? And so it was this whole journey has been an absolute learning curve for me to really tap into what's important, what's truly important in my life.
Yeah.
And success is for me is this inner contentment and this joy.
Yeah. Happiness
within. That is, if I've got that, I've got everything in the world.
Yeah.
And everything.
It's strange. We've all heard that over the years. It's from the inside out. It's from the ground up. It's internal, never external. But it's still very evasive. We still have these tendencies to look outside for everything, to blame other people for where we're at, to, you made me upset, you made me angry. Those things just come so naturally to even to myself at times, and I'm on top of my game. It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary how much. Might I go as far to say that it's our subconscious, our trained subconscious, that pretty much runs us? I mean, sure, it does our respiration and keeps us alive, but it's also pretty much playing the game for us, don't you think?
Absolutely. And
scary.
Interestingly, and like you, I still do that myself. But recently I've been doing work on, I don't know if you've heard of Byron Katie and the work. And oh my goodness, this has been such a blessing for me. Instead of keep blaming out external things, it's like, oh, okay, hold on. Let's bring it back in here now and let's see what's going on here. Oh, I've been loving it and learning so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much.
It's interesting how you also said that happiness is it's evolved for you. Where you were 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it would have a different definition. I think that's fantastic. Whenever you hear someone speak about the way you did, the internal, I'm not going to say part of it, that's where it all is, someone's on the right track.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, when you say, well, you know, I got to pay my bills, you know, and we all know we all got to do that, but, you know, it's not going to make us happy.
Yeah. I was always seeking validation from outside of myself. Always. And it was coming in all different forms. And you know, to some part we do, and that's okay. But it just, in the last few years, my life is beginning to turn around, and I'm realizing that I am responsible. I am 100% responsible for what's going on out there. I've brought this into my life, you know, and so now you deal with it.
A lot of people don't realize that, or at least won't ponder the thought that we are 100% responsible for what goes on with us. You know, they'll bring up those extreme situations where, of course, you're accosted by somebody or something. But still, you know, how we cope with it, how we deal with it, what we do with it determines what happens to us. So that's the pain, and that's the suffering that we add, right? We add these layers of suffering on top of everything, and a lot of it doesn't even exist. It's just piles of shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it really
is.
It's
our response, you know, it's how we respond to that event. And we can, you know, that's where the choice lies, and that's where the outcome, we can choose that outcome through our response.
Yeah, very well said. I like that. I'm going to use that. You know, I was doing a lot of research on you, and Michael Sealey popped up.
I've never actually met Michael. We did a collaboration together, a meditation together.
Welcome to this guided meditation
for reaching out to discover your future self. In this meditation, you'll be hearing both my voice
and my voice
as we work together in unison
to bring you your very best relaxing journey
to your ultimate self-discovery.
I love Michael's work, and I love what he's doing too. So
yeah. You two guys are my favorite.
Ah, cool.
It just so happens you guys ended up collaborating.
Yeah.
What part would you say the ego plays in our lives?
You know, the ego, I think, slips in and out, I think, all the time. And it's just, and I think the beautiful thing about the meditation is this awareness that begins to develop inside of ourselves, and we can tune in more and more to, okay, where is this coming from? You know,
what's the best advice you've ever gotten from somebody, or you've read, or that made you go, wow, and were able to implement, like took you on a new trajectory or something like that?
Okay, this is a saying I live by, and I've got to remember who wrote this, but I'll just say this saying. I heard it when I was young, probably in my 20s, and it said, "Come to the edge," he said. "They said we are afraid. Come to the edge," he said. They came, he pushed them, and they flew.
Oh.
And I love that one, and I live by that one. Just only this weekend, you know, and I gave my first presentation. I did a YouTube presentation in speaking, and then ended with a song. And I was taking a risk, and I had no idea how it was going to go. It ended up doing so well. I just kept pushing myself and said, just drop the fear and be of service. You know, get out there. Just get out there. Stop this nonsense and do it.
Yeah.
And it ended up being, and I did fly, you know.
Yeah.
So it's something I live by.
And what was your preparation for going out on stage? Because, you know, of course, being in front of people is the scariest thing in the world for all of us. Yeah. So you must have had that. And then you go, so what'd you do? Did you say, did you breathe? What'd you do?
Yeah, I breathed often,
slow and deep.
And I had some time to prepare before people came in, and so I just sat down and just breathed. Found myself breathing, consciously breathing.
Yeah.
And then by the time when the trickle of people started to come in, it was comfortable. Even as soon as they started coming in, I knew that it was okay.
Yeah.
I knew that it was okay.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful.
And then once it begins, it's fine, but it's all those initial, I'm not just going to say hours, I'm going to say days and even weeks and possibly months leading up to it.
Sure.
It's like the negativity, comes in.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are? How can you do this? You can't sing anymore. I used to sing, and you haven't sung for ages. You don't know what you're doing. And I had to keep overriding all that negativity.
Meditation has to be a cornerstone to this life that we live. It just has to be. There's so much going on, especially with the phone now, the smartphones. It's calling us. In fact, they're designed to call us and take us out of our mode. I read a statistic the other day. When you hear a beep or a chime or anything to do with your phone, it takes you 20 minutes to get back to, let's say, ground zero. Wow. So it's not only that it just happened and, I went 5 minutes without having to check my phone. No, when you hear something or you think of the phone or whatever it is, it takes you 20 minutes or so to be able to escape it. And whether it's true or not, it just goes to show you that no matter what, we're in a different place these days, and we need different tools. We need better tools, right, to counteract this. Where else do you go? I mean, other than meditate, it just makes so much sense to me how important it is every single day.
I think the important thing, Steve, is even if people don't get to meditate or say they haven't got enough time, which is kind of a lie anyway, and that's just a belief.
Right.
But is the mindfulness aspect of, and this, of course, can be done anywhere, anytime, of just tuning into wherever you are in the present moment. And you can be driving the car and just catching yourself to be aware. Yes. Your mind can be just drifting off, and you can be thinking of negativity, and that's like, oh, hold on. Let's just bring it back. Let's just bring it back to here.
Yes.
The awareness, what's going on around me.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all gone through that thing of going from A to B, and we have no idea. We've driven, no idea what's happened in between. We've arrived and we've thought, wow, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So I think mindfulness is a beautiful tool that just to keep catching ourselves, bringing ourselves back to the present.
You're right. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that is, I study Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard of Eckhart? How could you not have? I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness!
I've done everything with him, so I know. I've been exposed to everything he's ever said, everything he's ever. I love Sadhguru too. I don't know if you know him. He's from India.
Yes,
Sadhguru. Yes, so, I do. I mean, they're my cornerstones. Before anything else, it's interesting. I heard Eckhart say that you don't have to like the moment, you don't have to agree with the moment, but you have to accept the moment. Doesn't mean you can't change your situation, but it just means that it has already happened. To do this and complain and call 5 people and complain to each of the people and keep doing that to yourself, that's the problem with human beings.
Yeah. And we're dragging up. We're just continually carrying that past moment, the past moments and continuing just to drag it along with us. But even then, when you think about that, I mean, that's the moment too. And that's the moment we're choosing.
Right. And, good point.
We don't, if you want to choose then to drag this shit with you.
Right.
And then that's your moment.
Yes.
Just recognize that. But, we have that choice.
Yeah, and how about taking it one step further? We're rarely choosing. The choice is being made for us, right? Because we go into automatic pilot where it's habitual. We're so used to just dragging this shit around. I also read this thing once where they say problems are interchangeable because it's the process. It's the same process over and over again. What we do with every problem we have, it's the same process. Something happens, we're pissed off. We'll call 5 people, whatever our process is, we'll roll it around in our brain until we can't take it anymore, until we have to finally, for health's sake, pull away, whatever our process is. So they say all problems are interchangeable until we learn how to deal with us and how we deal with problems. There'll always be problems. You know what I mean? There really won't be problems until we understand that we're the problem. How we deal with it is the problem.
Absolutely.
And those things are there to teach us what to do. So, you know what I mean? It's not the problem. It's not that we're able to solve the problem as much. It's that we're able to live a life between having, in that time period. Let's say someone was supposed to call you and they never called you. Something important. Well, what are you doing with that time? Are you thinking about it over and over again? Is it and then the person calls and like, oh, good, great. But meanwhile, in that time period, you weren't being mindful. You were being total on automatic, right?
It's like that, what we were talking about before about, blaming that event or the non-event or whatever's happened and making it our problem.
Yes.
Rather than just saying, okay, that's happened. But we create things in our head.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is so wrong. You might even be beating someone up in your mind. Oh, that person's an asshole. And then you'll find out that their car broke down and that's why they didn't get there. And it's like, oh, okay. And sorry about that.
Yeah.
Bang, all that wasted energy.
Yeah, and we lived it. We lived it as if it was real to us, exactly the way we saw it and felt it. And that's the scary part, that we're living a much harsher life than we should be. Less joyful too, because I guess when you add more, you less of the other. I was watching this. I watched this series on TV here. It's called Shameless, and it's just a crazy series. But it had this guy was going to his Alcoholics Anonymous sponsor, and it wasn't working out. So he tried a new sponsor, and he walks in and he goes, let me tell you about my girlfriend. I'm having this, and my parents, and this and that. And she looked at him and she cursed and she goes, get out of here and come back when you want to talk about yourself and your own stuff. And I was like, well, it's funny. My wife said, oh, she shouldn't have said that to him. And I'm like, yeah. And you know what? After seeing 5 other sponsors, he came back to her because he realized that it's all here. Those are just distractions. Sure, so I just thought that was so great. I just thought that was so great and so true. I belong to a personal development group and a business development group, 2 separate groups. And in one of them, they laid out the rules. But one of the things is if I go for more than 5 minutes harping on something in my mind that's negative, I have to pay $5. So we each have to pay $5 each incident, whatever we deem as being important to us. So at the end of the week, it goes into a bank account, and at the end of the year, we decide to do something with it. Wow, so I give myself 5 minutes. That's it. Like if somebody owes me money and I'm like, oh, I can't believe that son of a bitch. I'm his friend. I'm this, I'm that. I can't believe it. And if I let it go more than 5 minutes at a time, then that's it. I pay and hopefully learn the lesson.
I love that idea. I love that, because then that brings awareness. If we're going to spend 5 minutes, ruminating on that crap just over and over again, then you put the money in there and that might start to stop you from doing it.
Yeah. I put my money where my mouth is now,
Just a bit more of an awareness, because and I think I'm going to try something like that myself.
You could donate the money. You could do something, I don't know, just something interesting. And being in a group, I think is important too. I have a Mastermind group, which is a business group that we meet once a week online like this through Zoom. And then I have a personal development group that we meet. It's called the Results Group. And we meet via the phone. So there's 8 or 9 of us. And they're very structured meetings. One's for personal development, one's for business. It's kind of fun. And you learn a lot. I feel having a group of, as I read this thing, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Right? When I read that, I was like, ooh, no wonder why I'm not doing too well. Actually, I was traveling in India a couple of years ago, and I was laying in bed, and I said, I got to do something good. I'm like, and I saw that phrase again, you're the sum of the 5 people, the average of the 5 people, and I'm like, oh man. So I actually picked up the phone and I texted people that I knew would be very good for my Mastermind business group. And I started it then. And by the way, I got back into meditation then too, because how could you be in India and not meditate every morning? So I started to get up 5 a.m. every morning and meditating. So it was just, great.
Good on you.
It was just great.
Yeah.
But having a group around you that will give you honesty and non-judgment, and people that have excelled in certain areas that I haven't, and vice versa. I found that to be a huge tool. Otherwise, what do I got? I just have my head, what the reverberation of the thoughts in my mind, which, that's not good enough. Yeah. That's for sure. Has proved not to be too good over the years.
You learn, you take things from different people.
Yeah.
That helps us to grow. Otherwise, as you said, if I'm here on my own, the whole thing would be all over the place. Yeah. We have no sounding board, and in my group's a very diverse group of people. So it's just really about getting ahead, forging ahead, doing what you say you're going to do, your integrity. You don't have to say, I promise before everything. Everything that comes out of your mouth is a promise. So when you say it, you do it. If you don't do it, then you clean up your mess, whatever that mess is. Yeah.
I was reading one of the comments in one of your videos says, very soothing. My heart keeps jumping into my throat because my neighbors are setting off fireworks. I suffer from PTSD, and it's rather heart-stopping to have this right next door to me. And it triggers gunfire. It sounds like gunfire, which is what they had from being in the war, I guess. And they wrote, "This is so calming despite the situation. Thank you so much, Jason." These are people that would normally probably either go over there and break someone's neck or try to, or take drugs to numb themselves, or who knows what else, And it's just so great that there's another option, a healthy option. You know what I mean? I just think that's fantastic. And a lot of people wrote in similarly about not having to take meds anymore to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's something I've got
beautiful.
So often. I've heard people have come off blood pressure tablets, and I've heard that quite a few times.
Yeah.
And that's a known fact that meditation does lower the blood pressure. So when you start to hear that, you just go, wow, that's super awesome. And of course, that's not me. That's I'm the catalyst.
You're the catalyst.
I'm the pointing the way.
Right.
But it's the people dedicating their time to do something about this themselves.
Yeah. I heard a CEO say this once. He goes, when I'm really, really busy, I meditate once a day. He goes, but when I get so busy, and you expect him to say, I don't meditate at all, I miss it. He goes, I meditate twice a day.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like you're just waiting for him to say, I'm too busy. But when you think about everything you gain from it, but it's not immediate though. See, that's the whole thing. I find that when you meditate, it's not necessarily immediate. It's easy for me to quantify a half hour of time when I sit and work, or I write. I write. So I'm writing my book right now. It's easy to quantify that, but when you sit and you meditate, you have to believe and know that it's necessary, because you're not necessarily going to feel 30 minutes worth of time being devoted to. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel. And it's not really what happens in the meditation. It's what's important. It's what happens in your life after the meditation.
I think this is what's probably holding a lot of people back, because we are in this, the world of, we want to know results now. Like if we do something, we want to know results. Like, why are we doing this? And if we're spending 30 minutes sitting and not getting anything, then what's the point of that?
And we only give it once or twice, right? Before we'll give up, right? I mean, isn't that great?
Exactly. And so if only we, I think if people delve more and more into the studies and really see the scientific proof, then you can say, okay, this is working. This has been proven to work. Yeah. Maybe then. And sometimes, of course, we might not notice the results straight away, but other people around us might start noticing
Great point.
Subtle changes.
Great point. Because when we change things, everything around us changes.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah, there's a friend of mine has read this somewhere. Whenever there's a red light, he'll think about being in the moment. Every red light he sees, automatically, that is just an automatic be in the moment. I said, oh, that's pretty cool. That's definitely turning a negative into a positive.
Love that.
Isn't that great?
That.
So,
in fact, that reminds me of, I was listening to this Wayne Dyer video.
Oh, he's my all-time favorite.
Yeah, me too. I love.
Oh, really? I met him. I've been to a few. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
It's great.
Oh, he's been my hero for many, many years, and I still listen to his audiobooks.
Me too.
All the time.
Me too.
Love his work. And he said about the traffic lights, and you probably.
Oh, maybe that's where my friend got it from. He got it from somewhere.
Yeah, and he. I remember him saying, use that to sit and meditate. And he said, don't worry about. Don't worry about if it's turning, the light's going to turn green. He said, because the people behind you, they'll beep their horn at you anyway. And you'll have to move on then.
You're right. Now I remember, because I've listened to everything he's ever. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Love his work. Yeah.
How would somebody start in meditation, the simplest possible form? Would you say guided? Probably guided, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say guided meditation. Definitely. Because you'll wonder what on earth you're doing if you just sit there without any guidance at all.
Yeah, we're right back where we started from then.
Can I recommend someone different? than me.
Michael Sealy, maybe?
No, I love John Kabat-Zinn's work.
Oh man, we've been on the same path. How old are you, Jason?
I'm 53, coming up to 53.
Yeah, I just turned 57. I've been a therapist I was seeing back in the early 80s mentioned John Kabat-Zinn to me, and so been there.
Wow.
Yeah, good stuff.
I dearly love his work. I've read all of his books, and I've learnt a lot myself and how I conduct meditations, and I love his work.
Isn't all stress basically our perception? We're not unless someone's coming at you, we're creating all of our stress, aren't we?
For sure. I mean, and when they talk about fears, there's only two fears that we're born with. And I think it's the fear of falling and the fear of something else. And all the rest we create ourselves through beliefs. And stress is when you really go deep, it is what we create. Yeah.
So how's the prison programs going? And how did you get involved in that?
It first started with I think it was the Mule State prison in California. And then there was another prison in the US, a women's prison. For some reason, not allowed to mention their names and stuff.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is. But
that's all good. I get it.
And then there was an Australian prison as well, they're using it in the system of Australia. So these were just separate incidents, that they've reached out to me and after particular meditations. So, of course, I felt only too honored to share that.
Yeah. I hear Sadhguru does a lot of work with prisons, inmates.
Wow.
So, and he speaks a lot about it. And, people even will, of course, have an opinion that might not be quite positive about that. And he says, they're human beings. We want to help people. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. Yeah, I will serve anybody if it helps them. So really interesting. We can be good for a while. We can stay on the diet for a while. We can meditate for a while. We can start a new morning regiment where we wake up early and we do everything we're supposed to do, But then we fall off of it. We, as human beings, we just do. Probably 99% of the time, including myself. Don't you think it would be more the discipline, knowing, like your knowing of what you should do should outweigh, well, I don't want to do that now. The feeling of the moment. It seems so simple to me that it should be that easy. Like, I know I should not be eating this, but yet I do. I know I should be getting up at 5 a.m. and spending an hour and a half working on my book and meditating every morning. Yet there are weeks that I don't do it. And it's for no other reason than I don't want to do it at that time. But when I give myself a few minutes of whatever it is I should be doing, I feel great about it. You know what I mean? It's like we have to go through this period of time, even if it's just a minute or two, where we have to get uncomfortable in order to do what's right. And then once we do it, once we start writing or you start doing another one of your meditations, you just like ride into it. And you go from like, wow, you're so elated almost, but there's that stuck period that throws you off. And once you get thrown off, the more days it's so hard to get back on before what do you do with that? I mean, look, we're human. It sucks, but what do we do with it?
Steve, I hear you there. And that's the hard part, is that breakthrough to break through from the the part of that don't want to do it today, or I can miss a day, and then that leads to the problem, right? When we miss that day, then another day. I'll start it next week. I'll start again next week, and I'm speaking from experience here. It's breaking through and it's pushing through, and with that. Creating that habit. Yeah. Because that's what it is. It's creating that habit. And they say that takes, 20, 30 days or 60 days even. Yeah.
Well, Jason, I'll tell you, this has been great. Is there anything else you'd like to mention? Anything coming up?
People want to download one of my guided meditations for free. They can go to jasonstephenson.net.
Okay.
Great.
I'll be putting a bunch of links down below too, so they'll be able to find you.
Awesome.
And, well, this has been great, Jason. Pleasure meeting you. And I've been really looking forward to this, even more than my other ones, because I've known you for so long. I've known you for over 10 years.
Thanks, Steve. It's
a real pleasure.
Pleasure speaking with you too.
Did you like this podcast? If so, please share it with your friends. You can follow Life Mastery Podcast with Steven Arecco on YouTube and all other social media platforms. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe as we provide weekly tips and interviews with dynamic people on how to create the life and business you've always dreamt of. Any questions for Steven, then head over to Facebook, Twitter, or his website, lifemasterypodcast.com. Until next time, take action today and live life with passion.